You're in a conversation and something shifts. Not obviously. Nothing changes on the outside. But internally, something tightens. And right after that, you start adjusting. You choose your words a little more carefully. You hold something back before it fully comes out. You shape what you say while you're saying it. And it doesn't feel strange. It feels like you're just trying to say it the right way. Like you're keeping it from going somewhere. So you explain a little more than you need to. You soften something you were about to say. You pause just slightly to make sure it comes out right. And while all of that is happening, you still feel like yourself. But something is different. Because part of you isn't just there anymore. Part of you is watching. Tracking how this is landing. Trying to stay ahead of how you're being seen. And you don't think, I'm adjusting right now. You think, this will make more sense. This will land better. This will keep it from getting weird. And the more you do that, the more normal it feels. Until you don't even notice it. But if you slow it down, you're not just talking. You're managing yourself inside the moment. And once that starts, it spreads. Into how much you say, into how far you go, into what you hold back. And this is where it gets harder to see. Because everything still works. The conversation continues. Nothing forces you to stop. Which is exactly why this goes unnoticed. Because from the outside, nothing looks wrong. But internally, something is tighter. More controlled. More careful. Like you're there, but only within a limit you didn't say out loud. And if you've ever walked away and thought, why did I say it like that? Why didn't I just say what I meant? Why did I hold that back? That wasn't random. That was you already inside it. Not when it started. After. Because during it doesn't feel like something to question. It feels like something to follow. And that's the part that's easy to miss. Because you're not reacting to the moment anymore. You're reacting to something underneath the moment. Something that already shifted. Even if you didn't see when. And now everything runs through that. What you say, what you don't say, how far you go, when you stop. But here's what's actually happening. You're not just responding to the conversation. You're trying to keep it from becoming something. Something more exposed. Something less controlled. Something you don't fully want to step into. And once that becomes the reference point, everything after it starts organizing around it. You adjust. You manage. You keep things from going too far. And it doesn't feel like control. It feels like you're doing what makes sense. Like you're keeping things steady. But if you stay with that moment, you can see it more clearly. You weren't just talking. You were guiding what happens next. And that movement shows up earlier than most people realize in Genesis. After Adam and Eve eat from the tree, they don't stop and explain everything. They don't pause and reflect. They act. They cover themselves immediately. Before anything is even said, they manage what can be seen. And then they hide. And when God calls out to them, Adam says, "I was afraid because I was naked." But by the time he says that, everything already changed. They were already covered, already hidden, already adjusted how they relate. And that sequence matters. Because it doesn't start with explanation. It starts with adjustment. Something shifts and everything after it follows. Not slowly, immediately. And it doesn't feel like a reaction. It feels like the right thing to do. Just like it does now. You adjust, you manage, you keep things from going somewhere, and it feels justified. Like you're doing what you should be doing. But if you really look at it, you're not just responding to the moment. You're responding to something you didn't fully see happen. And now you're inside it. Talking, adjusting, holding things back, trying to keep something from shifting further. And even when you start noticing it, you don't fully understand it. You can see yourself doing it, but not fully see what's shaping it. And that's where it changes. Because once you see yourself doing it, you can't go back to thinking you were just being natural. But you also can't clearly see why it's happening. Not completely. And that tension stays. Because now, you're inside something. You can feel, you can see, but you don't fully understand your version of it.